Well, I'm so blessed to be back with you again, and we went through our beautiful 5 weeks of practicing the presence, and we did the Lord's Prayer and went deep and beautiful, and today's about the beloved community, this beloved community. Yesterday, I got to spend, 7 hours with the board and a few key leaders, and we did our first Q process together, and it was amazing. Reverend Levitt and Mary Paulson joined me as we facilitated that beautiful transformative work. So I am so hopeful and grateful for the leadership that is here and the movement in which we are moving together. Because, yes, our theme for this anniversary is reviving our faith, reigniting our joy, and re-energizing our community. So we're all together. We're doing this together, as that beautiful song said. Together we will do this. So I wanted to share a quote. You know, unity, one of our greatest values is peace. Faith in her song talked about that, bringing peace. And every Sunday we talk about peace on earth and let it begin with me. Or I usually say you, but just kidding. So right, it's a mirror effect. But anyway, I wanted to bring this beautiful idea of where peace might come from, and I'm not sure if we did find it fantastic. So it's good to hear it, but also to see the words. So this is from Louise Diamond, who wrote the book The Courage for Peace, because it takes great courage to do this work, stand in peace when anything unlike peace is experienced. Yes? She says, I have found that the spirit of peace is not some divine presence that will descend from the heavens to make everything miraculously right, but rather it's an innate potential within our human experience, which can be awakened and engaged in the messy process of righting our broken relationships. Yes? Yes. Yes. That is such a beautiful idea. Many of us are sort of waiting for God to descend upon us to create peace so that we can be more comfortable. It's a joke, right? Yeah. Like, okay, we're going to be waiting quite a while because where is God, right? God is within us and around us. And we are the co-creators of this world, of creating that beautiful reality of brothers and sisters. So we are the ones that we've been waiting for. We've heard that time and time again, and that's the truth then, and it is the truth today. That, you know, we're not waiting for the Messiah to come. The Messiah is here, and the Messiah is born in each and every one of us with that spark of divinity, that Christ presence. So Paul reminded us, you know, Christ in you, that's your hope of glory, yes? Christ in you. And so as a community, we're sort of wanting to see that in one another. And sometimes it's not always easy to notice it. Have you found that? Yeah. No, never, as says the minister who's been in many churches. And so many of us are so funny that we so believe that if it's a church and we call it a church, then there should just not be any conflict whatsoever. And if there is, then somebody's not listening to God. And it must be you. Because I'm okay. I'm just perfect. All the fight's in you. So we've been playing with that, with Eye of the Storm, and, you know, we looked at that, and now we're moving into a deeper understanding of that no one and nothing is against me, by looking at the Q process and understanding that we are these beautiful, complicated beings. That yes, we are made in the image and likeness of God, And we have every seed and every gift that we need. And yes, there is a human aspect to self. Yes? Yeah. So we sometimes think that just because we're spiritual or we're a Christian or we're from Unity or Buddhist, that we are made in the perfect image and likeness of God. Therefore, there's no room for mess up. But the reality is, we're always going to be messing up because of our human tendency. And Larry and I decided long ago, and this is my beloved right here, and this is his beautiful sister. Could you just stand a second, sis? This is Linda. Sorry, all the way from Illinois. But Larry and I, in one of the ministries, just heard Spirit say, that this ministry, this idea of ministry, is about embracing the human so we can express more of the divine. Yes, and Unity hasn't always done a really good job about that. They're really all about the Christ, really all about affirmations, really all about a positive difference in the world. But we sort of forgot about, well, what happens when we're not? Right? So I get to come and sort of help with that experience. And it's actually my joy, yes? Yes, because I'm just as human as the next. And when we can both embrace that and know that my intention is to be the Christ, but sometimes I forget that and express differently. So your job is to, even when I'm messing up, do not believe in that illusion. Do not believe that I'm a victim of life circumstances. Do not believe that I am in lack and limitation, or that someone is out to get me. Hold me in the light that God will lift me out of that story, yes? I don't want you to join me in my pity party story. I want you to see beyond that experience. Say, come on, Denese. I know that there's something in you that wants to express that's greater than how you're expressing right now. Let me see her. So we came up with all these beautiful qualities in the queue, and you'll get another opportunity next month to take that, and probably a few times before I leave. So it's about answering the call. Answering the call to our soul's evolution, God bless you, of waking up spiritually. That's why we're here, yes? To wake up spiritually. We're done. I don't know about you, but I'm done with the pain and suffering. Yeah, I did that plenty long. I'm ready to get about my mother, father's business, to be in joy, to be the expression of peace, to bring harmony and creativity and innovation, and to see that light in others, even the dimmest, right? So our work is to ignite that light in others so that that light goes on to change our experience and the world's, that we are one. So there's a story about the Messiah, and it's called The Rabbi's Gift. You've probably heard it before. I just invite you to hear it again for the first time. So the story concerns a monastery that had fallen upon our hard times, and it was just once a thriving and beautiful monastery with many beautiful people. And it sort of had declined, and there was only 5 monks left. The abbot and 4 others, and they were all becoming very elderly. And it was in the deep woods surrounding the monastery, had the woods all around it, and there was a rabbi from a nearby town that occasionally used this facility for a hermitage. So he agonized over the imminent death of his order, and it occurred to the abbot that at some time he would go visit the rabbi at his hermitage. So he did that. And the rabbi welcomed the abbot into his hut, and when the abbot explained his purpose of his visit, The rabbi could only commiserate with him. He says, I know how it is. The Spirit has gone out of the people. It's the same in my town. It's the same experience. Almost no one comes to the synagogue anymore. So the old abbot and the old rabbi wept together, and they began to read the Holy Scriptures together, the Torah. And they read parts of it, and then they began to speak of deep knowings. The time passed, and they embraced each other and said, it's been so wonderful reuniting and meeting you again, the abbot said, but, I failed because I haven't asked you the question I came to ask you. He says, is there some advice that you could give me to save my monastery, the order that I am in? Can you give me some help that could save our people? So the rabbi said, no, I'm so sorry. I have really no advice. The only thing I could tell you is that the Messiah is amongst you. And so the abbot went off and went back to the monastery, and the other monks said, so what did the rabbi say? He says, well, he really couldn't help me. We just cried together and read scripture. He did say sort of an odd or cryptic thing. He said, the Messiah is amongst us. So they all began to wonder what that meant. And after some time, they began to ask, the Messiah is amongst us. I'm wondering who that is. And they began to think, well, could it be the abbot? Probably. He's the most logical one. He's the wisest one from the order. But what about Brother Thomas? Thomas has been here a long time. He shows such strength and courage and gentleness. And then they began to look at each one of these beautiful souls that were there and imagining that could be the Messiah. And then they would think privately, gosh, is it possible that might be me? No, that's not possible. But as time went on, of course, they began to suspect that each one could be that Messiah. So word by word and action by action, there was new order returned, new thoughts, new ideas, great love, great respect that filled the monastery and the space, and the energy in the community began to thrive. And that respectful, loving energy of knowing that someone here was the Christed one, looking deeply in each one, thinking maybe it was even them, created a new order, a new idea of who they were. And slowly, day by day, more and more people began to return. And slowly, younger men and women would come to sit at the feet of the monks to learn. And there was more and more teachers. So this is our gift as well, yes? That we are the ones. We are the ones that God has sent to be here right now, in this moment, in this community, to be the voice and the wisdom and the courage and the peace. We are the ones co-creating a whole new community. This is the beloved community. Yes? Yes. This is us. This is it, that there's no minister coming to save you. Right? There's no one coming to save us. It is us creating something so magnificent that people will be filling through the doors, through our joy, through our recognition. So when they come through these doors, they feel the Christ energy. They're seen as the one. Yes? And that's being seen as the one, they rise to become a greater expression of their own unique, authentic, sacred self. That's what we're here to do. Support each other in expressing God's gifts. So one of Jesus' teachings was the parable of the talents. Remember in the Bible in Matthew where he told the story of the master who gave 5 coins to one of the servants and 2 to another and 1 to the third. And the first one went out and brought back 5 talents plus 5 more. And the second one brought back both of the ones he got plus 2. And the third one said, Master, I'm so sorry. I was afraid that there wouldn't be enough. And so I buried my talent, but I'm bringing it back to you. And of course the teaching was that in order for us to be a blessing in the world, we have to express the gifts that God has given us. It's not enough just to receive them. They really don't do anybody any good, even us, unless they are released from the imprisoned splendor in which they exist within ourselves. So our sacred service ministry is about your opportunity to be in service to God. Yes? Yes. So next week and the next, you'll have opportunities to become a vital force and re-energizing, reigniting, restoring order, bringing your love, your light, your unique talents to this ministry, to remember who we have come here to be. So Emily Cady said, you already have the light. But until you give out that light that you have, the universe cannot support you with more light. We must express in order to receive. Yes? Yes. And part of that is such a great joy. You'll see all the ones that are in high service, they cannot wait to show up, to see how God wants to use them. In this church or somewhere else, use me, God, right? Let me be your voice, your arms, your words, your music. So there's a cute little story about the mother bear. Usually bears have twins. You usually see twin cubs, and the mother bear usually stays with them and teaches them to fish and all the wonderful things to care for themselves for at least 2 years. And then the mother knows intuitively when it is time for the cubs to go off on their own. She also knows that they most likely will not go when told. So she strategically climbs up the tallest tree she can find, higher than they're normally used to, gets them all the way to the top, blesses them, and she scurries down, and she's off. Because her job is over, right? She knows that. And that if she doesn't let them go, that they'll depend on her forever for all of their needs. So it is the most loving act that we can do. And the reason she does that is because she does love them. And she wants them to find their own way of hunting, their own way of expressing themselves. And if all they knew was only her teaching, that would limit their ability to be in a unique expression as a baby bear cub. So, the only way to discover our own power and our abilities is to come down out of the tree and begin to really living our lives, to really offer the gifts that God has given us. For this spiritual community to be all that it can be for you, it really must encourage you to discover the power in you. Not the power I have. The power in you. So Unity Church of Hawaii, our greatest gift to you will not be what we give you, but what you draw from it. Yes? Yes? Yes. What you draw from it. What you take from here and use to develop a spiritual maturity, an emotional maturity, a way to be in the world, a way to be an expression of the Christ. And our greatest gift to you will be more about awakening those gifts in you and a practice of allowing you to express that in your unique way. So God is so great. Yes? God is so great. Through this ministry, through you. So we can change our entire experience by changing our assumptions and perceptions of who we really are and why we have come to earth. And we can stop waiting for somebody or something to show up to save us, because we're the ones. We're the ones to co-create the next beloved community together, yes? Yes. We're it. We're the ones making up the rules now. We're the ones deciding how to move forward no matter what has happened in our past, yes? Just as we do in our own lives. That nothing can keep you from expressing your magnificence. Only the habitual patterns that keep us suffering in the separation of God. So the people who are really growing and glowing are the ones who have stepped out into sacred service here, who have come down out of the branches of self-interest and have begun to treat everyone as the Messiah. Will you join us? Yes, yes. So this is our month of celebration, of reigniting our joy, of remembering the truth of our being. And we're re-energizing as well. So Jesus said, wherever two or more are gathered, there I am. Something happens when we gather together, yes? Something magnificent happens when we gather together in spiritual community. Even online is so wonderful, so keep coming. But something happens here. There's a vibration there's a felt experience of the truth, yes? With the music, with the neighbors that we're sitting with. We're entering into a kingdom of heaven that gets co-created by each and every one of us. And this is called a shared reality. So Unity Worldwide, the vision of Unity Worldwide Ministries is a world powerfully transformed through the growing movement of a shared spiritual reality. Yes? That's exciting. That's moving and propelling me forward as a minister, as coming here, because I want to share this reality that we are one, that you and I are God in skin, that we have incarnated as the Christ presence. So Jesus' teaching really is to love your neighbor as yourself. And he was saying we can only come to know and love ourselves by looking and discovering that divine in each other. So Jesus really clarified the kingdom of heaven by saying the kingdom of heaven is at hand. It is now. It is amongst you. And our journey home to God is both this inward experience and also through our relationships with each other. It's community. And that's what we're moving into, a greater expression of that. That's what we're healing from when we have these sort of conflicts and upsets. That's not who we are. But we need to look at all of the ways in which we weren't on our Christ itself, so we don't repeat that pattern. Yes? Yes. That's all we're doing. So this is a high and lofty teaching that really can take us as far as we're willing to go in our spiritual awakening process. And our spiritual community really provides the perfect process for the two ways that we grow in this relationship to one, to our oneness. So we close our eyes at times to go within and commune with the one presence and one power, and then we open ourselves to this beautiful community and behold the beloved Christ presence with skin on. Yes? Are you with me? Yeah, we are in this together. God bless you. Thank you so much.